I want to start today with the stimulus. Let's talk about some stimulus updates and moves overnight from some conservative members of the Senate. Now, do you remember earlier in the week when we knew that Steven Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, was meeting over lunch with Senate Republicans? Well, the early dispatches and news that we heard from this event was that there was very little talked about in the way of the stimulus. But now we're hearing from Senator Inhofe, who is one of the most conservative members of the Senate. He says that they talked about this for a long time and that he is on board for a round of stimulus, but there's going to be some things they're going to be watching. So Senator Inhofe, along with Senator John Cornyn of Texas, on board for additional stimulus. But, and there's a big but, I'll get to in just a second, but really surprised to hear these two senators particularly have jumped on board with a stimulus. Let's hear from them.
What you don't want to do is have a reward given to people who don't want to work.
If there is additional need for direct assistance, that's something we should consider.
So there first was Senator Inhofe and then Senator Cornyn of Texas on board for a second stimulus. But you're hearing members of the administration going kind of back and forth. You know, Senator Mnuchin, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin is on board for an additional stimulus, but that is apparently at odds with Larry Kudlow in the White House. There are reports coming out that Larry Kudlow is a little bit more skeptical. He's a White House senior economic advisor, national economic advisor. He's been more reserved. He really wants to pay attention to what happens in July, and we'll get there in a second. So hold on. And then Monica Crowley. You remember what she said this week. This is precisely, I think, where the administration and all of this hinges. Listen to Monica Crowley in this interview, not come out with a specific date, but wants to wait on one specific thing. Listen to what she has to say.
Look, this was an unprecedented economic and public health crisis that required unprecedented response. What we were able to do through this administration, through Treasury and the Small Business Administration, is stand up this astonishing fiscal response done through sort of a private sector approach to make sure that American businesses, American industries, and American workers were protected through this period of time. That involved the economic impact payments. We were able to get out about 160 million of them in record time. If we see in another few weeks that the need is still there for an additional kind of stimulus, and again, we're hoping that we can move from rescue and relief efforts of the U.S. economy into an economic stimulus, pro-growth incentives. If those conditions still exist in a few weeks, the administration has made it very clear that we will consider all options, including additional stimulus checks.
Okay, additional stimulus checks. That's what I want to hear about.
So there you go, a second stimulus check, but it hinges on, I believe, the first week of July. So it's all going to come down to July 2nd. What's on July 2nd? Who here watching right now has been watching our show enough to know what happens on July 2nd? Can anyone tell me? Just drop me a comment below and let me know. On July 2nd, ready? The answer is the June jobs report, which I'm frustrated by as a metric that they're going to use to see how much this next stimulus will be. Why? Because again, it's one very faulty data point. As the Federal Reserve has repeatedly said, it's one data point. But you're hearing now from a number of senators, you're hearing from the White House, and it is all shaping up to next Friday, July 2nd, the jobs report. That's when we will see what the June numbers look like. How many people lost their jobs? How many people filed for unemployment? You know, the problem with the May jobs report is that it had to be revised that afternoon because it was wrong, because they had miscalculated the number of people that actually were just temporarily laid off and then came back to work. And so a lot of people said, wow, look at all the jobs that were created. No, those people just went back to their job and went back to their job with pay cuts, hours cut. So how is that great as a metric? I mean, I don't know what they're waiting for. They're sort of sitting on their hands for this July 2nd number as if they can then walk away from this. But it's very clear to me that the senators who are running for re-election, this morning I went through and analyzed the number of senators who've publicly talked about a stimulus check today. Guess what? I know it's shocking, but those senators who are publicly talking about a new round of stimulus are almost all running for re-election in the fall. Those who are reserved about it and not talking about it are not running for re-election. Is that a shock? One in particular is Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina. He is actually I'm stunned by this. He's actually calling for a $2,000 per month stimulus plan for the American people through the end of the year. He's a Republican. He's running for re-election, of course, in North Carolina. Now he has a GOP challenger down there. So, look, I don't mean to be cynical, but come on, right? He's running for re-election. He's floating a $2,000 per month stimulus plan as a Republican in North Carolina. I think we can see right through that. But there are some concerns, and I will give these senators their concerns that they do this targeted and with focus. One of those concerns is this. Listen to this. It's not surprising.
The Government Accountability Office just reported $1.4 billion was mistakenly sent to dead people.
That'd be the first thing on the list, saying lessons learned, not to replicate that.
Yes. So anything that we do needs to make sure that we do not have this happen again, where $1.4 billion was sent to dead people. And I know it's frustrating, guys. I know it is, because so many of you watching right now, I just saw a comment earlier from one of our viewers that said, I still haven't received my stimulus. I still haven't received my unemployment benefits. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm getting desperate. So $1.4 billion sent out to dead people. And yet many of you watching right now still have not received your stimulus, still have not received your unemployment. Some of you have been working through this entire time and had hours cut, so then you're not able to get unemployment. I mean, let's talk about that. So many people, yes, they are working and they're showing up as employed, but they're not receiving benefits. They're not getting $600 because they're working. They're in their job. It's incredibly frustrating. So again, July 2nd, the jobs report, July 2nd. What will June look like? Again, it's one data point. I hope that Senate, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, I know that he's waiting on this. I know that members of the White House are waiting on this number. They're going to probably, if it's good, they're going to roll out and do another big dog and pony show in the Rose Garden and talk about how good it is, and then have the numbers come down revised just a few hours later that they're wildly inaccurate. Again, this is just one data point. The jobs numbers are one data point, and they're wildly inaccurate. I don't understand why we're going to pin our hopes and dreams on this one particular thing. But I do want to talk about something positive, which is you do have some rental assistance that has become available for different people. Now, yesterday I reported here on the show about New York State. If you are a landlord or a renter, you have an opportunity to call up your state hotline and get access to rental assistance. Up to $100 million is now being set aside for rental assistance for you to be able to pay your rent. Same is true for landlords who need those funds without a lack of rental payments that have been coming in. They've been able to make payments on their mortgages. So New York State, way to go. Now a number of other cities and municipalities are doing the very same thing. So what you can do is you can pick up your phone when the show is over, call 211. Now, I talked to our accounting team about this, and they're saying you're going to be asked when you call that number to be pointed to a local government program that would help rental assistance. So call the number 211 and then ask when you're on the phone to be pointed to any local programs in your neighborhood, in your municipality, in your county that would help with rental assistance right now because of COVID-19. And also food assistance. The problem is that many people don't even know that these programs are available to them. We've even seen that with the PPP program. There's $140 billion still sitting there in that account that the government put there, and businesses haven't taken advantage of it. So there are programs, rental assistance and others available for you right now. You just need to make those phone calls. Another idea that you can try, and I love this idea because as part of the EDIL or the EIDL, there is grant money available for landlords who have not been able to receive rental assistance. So if you're a landlord like I am, I own properties, we've had a lot of tenants that haven't been able to pay their rent. And we haven't done any evictions. and we're just waiting, hopefully, till they're able to get caught up, and we're able to work with the local authorities and help them get back on a straight and narrow path, and actually pointing them in the direction of some of these assistance programs that many of them didn't even know existed. But anyway, if you are a landlord or you know a landlord, so let's say you're renting from a landlord, and that landlord says, hey, I'm going to go into foreclosure because you guys aren't paying your rent and there's no government programs available for me. I'm going to lose this house. I'm worried that I'm going to have to sell this place and you're going to be out homeless. Well, you can talk to that landlord and let them know that under the EIDL program, there is on the application loss of rent. They can apply for that and get that money back. So this is a communication you should be able to have with your landlords and your renters to let them know that some of this government assistance exists. So even under this ELD grant money, it's $1,000 for each employee that they have on their business. So there's all kinds of different grant programs that are available for people right now that they just don't know about. But I would recommend you call 211, talk to your local municipalities, find out what is available, and see if you can apply. Also, apply for these PPP programs. Okay, apply for these different grant programs right now and loan programs. The Main Street Lending Program that's been rolled out by the Federal Reserve. The Main Street Lending Program is huge. I mean, it's billions of dollars that are being set aside right now for small businesses that need it, with very favorable terms for you to be able to pay that back or work with your local bank in order to have part loan forgiveness and all of these different pieces. So please take advantage of that. So again, rental assistance and landlord assistance is popping up in different states, California, New York, Florida, other places that you can take advantage of some of these programs. So go for it and take advantage of them, okay? So please subscribe to this channel if you're new here. If I bring you any value at all, if you're new, please subscribe and share this with someone that you think could use this. Share this on Facebook or Twitter. Share this with loved ones, because if they're waiting on some of this assistance, they could certainly use a little help, and sharing the show with them would be a big help. And thank you for subscribing. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Webull, where you can get up to 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 just for signing up. You have to use this web address. Do it right on your phone. It takes you right to the app. You download it for free. It's a stock trading app, and Wall Street right now is doing so well. It's like free money for people. So you can get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 just for signing up. And then you're entered in for a chance to win that 3rd premium Google stock they're giving away, which is like a $1,700 stock for free. So check it out. Our thanks to Webull. Big fan of what they do and their support of our show. So thanks to them. And of course, Grover loves Webull too. So Grover says hi, our 4-month-old mini pincher and my co-host, who yesterday was barking like crazy and decided to shut the show down by stepping on the surge protector. So many of you said, what happened to the show? It just went black. Yeah, because of this guy, because of this troublemaker. So he is trouble.